Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Nino falls in love with Naruto, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. The office of Nakano was dimly lit, with only the desk lamp acting as a source of light. Even with the sun starting to set on the horizon, the man didn't bother to turn any of the other lights on. He quite liked the atmosphere his office had during this time of the day, right before nighttime arrived. Not only that, but through his window he had a perfect view of the sunset every day. Some might find this behavior strange, but the prominent doctor had never been one to care about others' opinions. Well, that wasn't exactly true. Not anymore. This brought along the wave of troubling thoughts that had been plaguing him for the better half of this year. No, maybe longer than that. It was hard to say. Not that it mattered all that much really. The problem remained nonetheless. His daughter's ineptitude towards school. It was such a small problem, and yet so big. Trying to find a solution had been harder than he'd expected, which is why he had decided on unorthodox methods to fix it. Hopefully it didn't come to bite him in the ass later. But just to be sure. There was a knock at his door, making me smile. Right on time. Come in. His voice might have been soft, but it carried a lot of weight behind it. The door opened, and an all too familiar face was revealed to him. At first, it was a face that had annoyed him. It had been silly of him really, but that's how it was. Over the years, that annoyance had transformed into something more friendly. The man couldn't describe it well. Abstract thoughts like that were always a challenge for him. Hello sir. You called for me. I did, Uzumaki-kun. I'm glad you were able to answer my summons, despite you arriving earlier today. Uzumaki Naruto shook his head. At 22 years of age, the blonde was tall, his haircut short, and his body well-toned. He was in a long-sleeved orange shirt with a jacket vest over it, black jeans, and a pair of dark sneakers. Around his neck was also a pair of headphones, very similar to the ones a certain girl used. It's not a problem. Russia was fun, and all, but I'm looking forward to a more peaceful setting for a while. Oh? Did you not have fun with the tournament? From what I gathered, you managed to win. Yeah, but my studies have been suffering because of it. I can't let that happen, as you know. The man hummed. Yes. I recall your promise, but are you satisfied with simple online courses? It's the best I can manage, given my schedule. That, and well, school is just not very fun for me. And college was no exception. Yes, I remember that, as well. You grades. Naruto had the decency to look sheepish. I'm not failing, but I'm not a top student either. It was the best way to put it without hurting his pride. The doctor chuckled lightly at this, as he turned on his chair to face the blonde. Yes, you've always been like that. But that's also the reason why I called you over today. Naruto cocked his head. Yes. I'm sure you know, but my daughters have not been doing well academically for a rather extended period of time. Worse than you even. That was an understatement. But Naruto was well aware of this already. Given his position, it was only natural that he did. I've tried to hire different tutors for them, including my own assistant, the man explained. I'm sure you can remember that as well. Naruto did. But none of those options have produced any positive results. That is why I have decided to try an orthodox method this time around. I'm not sure I follow. Someone suggested a boy their age to help them, a student who's at the very top of his grade, and even his school. I was hesitant, but after so many failures, I'm willing to try my chances with this idea. At least, until a better option arrives. Naruto understood the situation well. However, I still don't understand what this has to do with me. The man smiled a little. Oh, it's nothing you're not used to, Uzumaki-kun. The girls will be transferring to this new school you see, so that their tutoring sessions can work out for the best. It's a new environment, and a new stranger is entering their lives. I just want to make sure everything goes smoothly. Naruto scratched his head, shrugging. If you're asking me to look out after them, then that's no problem. I already promised to do that. Nothing was going to change that, not after what Naruto owed. That, and he promised too. Naruto seemed pleased by this. Good. There are very few people I would trust their lives to. There were only two, well, one to be honest. And that was the blonde before him. I also want you to keep an eye out for this new tutor. If he fails to bring their grades up, then firing him will be the best solution, so that we may look for another person. The man had always been like this. Calculated, and pragmatic. Naruto wouldn't say that he disagreed with the man's actions, but he certainly didn't fully approve either, among many other things. But that didn't matter at the moment. I can definitely do that. I was planning on stopping by tomorrow, so all of this works out for me. Good. I'm happy I can count on you, Uzumaki-kun. That's what he said, but Naruto had been hoping the man would have grown as a father since the last time he'd seen him. That didn't seem to be the case, though. He was still clumsy and awkward as usual, which explained his distance. But underneath that was an overly concerned father. Naruto's presence only proved that. Well, it's only been a few months. Progress takes time, he thought idly, as he pulled out his phone, already outside the hospital. It was already dark, with the street lamp switching on. More importantly, Naruto's stomach was rumbling. He needed food, and fast. Maybe I should check out that restaurant I spotted on my way here. It looked pretty comfy. Hopefully the food was good too. He hadn't gotten the chance to eat anything ever since he had arrived back in Japan. And while Russian cuisine wasn't bad, nothing beat good old Japanese dishes. But that was just him being beast. With that in mind, he was about to set off for his new destination until his phone started ringing. He brought it back to his face again, to see who the caller was. He wasn't surprised. "Nino," he said, as he answered the call. "What's up with that tone? Aren't you happy to hear my voice again?" "Ha, that's not it at all. I just wasn't expecting you to call so late." Okay, maybe he had been a little bit. The girl was always doing this sort of thing every time he returned from overseas. She had a knack for knowing when he was back somehow. "Ibita-san told me that Papa called you to his office today." "That man. So he was the leak then." "Anyway, that doesn't matter. You have some nerve not calling any of us, and telling us that you were back." He could practically feel the girl's glare through the phone. So impressive. "And by us, you mean you, right?" "Whatever. My point stands." "Or what, did you forget about us already? Was Russia that good of a place?" "This girl." "That's not it at all," Naruto said, as he started to walk down the street toward the restaurant. There were still other people around at this hour, probably going for dinner themselves or heading home. "I just got caught up with other stuff. And then your dad called. I was planning on stopping by tomorrow." "Not good enough. You owe Muse an apology." "Oh boy." She was angry, wasn't she? Out of the five, Nino had always been the most sensitive. Naruto had learned this the hard way over the years. Fine. I guess I do." "Good, you starting to understand your place." Naruto's sweat dropped. "I really don't like the way you phrased that." "Not important. Where are you? Have you eaten dinner yet?" "I just left your dad's office, and no, I haven't. I was actually planning on getting dinner right." "Oh, good. Then come pick me up. We can go together." "Just you? Weren't you saying that I was supposed to greet all of you?" "You can do that later. You have to apologize to me first." Naruto almost sighed. He could never understand this girl's logic. Besides, none of them are here right now. Ichika left saying she had some stuff to do earlier. Yutsuba stayed back in school to help some friends. Itsuki is in the library studying, and I have no idea where Miku is. Shouldn't you be studying as well? And how do you not know where Miku is? I don't know, alright. And studying is boring, so I don't want to do it. Geez, no wonder her grades were abysmal. Naruto prayed for their new tutor. He was going to have his hands full. But, as always, Nino and Miku were at odds, it seemed. It wasn't that they didn't like each other. Far from it. The two sisters loved one another and genuinely cared for the other, as did the other three. It's just that their personalities often clashed since they were the exact opposite. On that token, Nino was closer to Itsuki, and Miku and Ichika were the other pair, with Yutsuba getting along well with all four. What troublesome quintuplets. "I'll be there in 15 minutes. We actually moved recently. I'll text you the new address right away." "Wait, what? They moved? Why the hell had the old man failed to mention that?" "Probably deemed it unimportant since one of them was bound to tell me sooner or later. It was just the way the man was. Not that it wasn't annoying." Naruto sighed. "Alright. I'll be there whenever then. You can at least make it sound a little bit romantic." And what's with the sigh, huh? So he landed on a Nino landmine, after all. Nothing new here. Nakano Nino, the most fashionable of her sisters. Which was saying a lot since each sister liked to stylize their looks. It was a way to differentiate themselves from the other, down to their different hairstyles and color. Well, in regards to the last one, Nino was different from the rest. "It's about time you got here." The girl in question stood before him now, her long hair flowing behind her. She was dressed in a simple purple dress along with white thigh-high socks. Her usual 2 ribbons were on her head. And of course, just like her sisters, she was a natural beauty. Not that Naruto was focused on that. He'd known her since she was 12, and she was practically like a little sister to him. That rang true for the other 4. "I think I arrived in a reasonable time," Naruto defended himself. He patted his stomach. "Besides, I'm starving. I don't have my usual strength with me right now." Nino rolled her eyes. Always with the same excuse, she sounded annoyed, but the look on her face said otherwise. Naruto raised an eyebrow when the girl suddenly ran up to him and engulfed him in a hug. "I've missed you," she said softly. Naruto smiled. She was still the same, alright. No matter how much time passed, that endearing side of her would never change. "Hey now, it's only been a few months. You knew I was coming back," he said this while ruffling her hair. Nino slapped his hand away and stepped back, pouting a little, as she did. "I've told you to stop doing that. I'm not a little girl anymore." Naruto chuckled. Sorry. Old habits, you know." He then looked up to the building next to them, whistling. "New place, I see." Your dad doesn't hold back. Nino crossed her arms. Yeah, we don't get it either. He suddenly had us move over here last week. Last week, huh? Naruto had a pretty good idea why the man had done so then. We can't complain, though. Nino held her head high, smiling. It's pretty spacious, and all our rooms are next to one another. We got a whole floor to ourselves too. Naruto playfully sulked. Sounds great. His place didn't compare to this, not even close. Although that was mostly by choice. He had a fair amount of money saved up already, but he was never one to go for the lavish lifestyle. Probably because of how he had grown up. His apartment back in the village had been small, but it had been home all the same. Nino stuck out her tongue before looking away, her cheeks reddening a little. You can always move in with us. The offer is still in place. She had asked him the same thing before he had left for Russia all those months ago. It wasn't that he didn't appreciate the gesture. The offer had simply caught him off guard. His answer was still the same. Nah, I'd rather not intrude. And if there are only 5 rooms, there would be no place for me. Nino knew of an easy way of solving that, but she was too embarrassed to suggest it. Probably too soon anyway. But on the off chance Naruto took her up on her offer. Her cheeks reddened further. Bad thoughts, bad thoughts. Naruto was left confused by the girl's change in mood. Again, he could never understand her when she got like this. Anyway, should we get going? Naruto turned for the street, looking ready to go. I'm starving. Nino instantly latched onto his arm, her cheeks still red. Then let us go. Naruto raised another eyebrow, but didn't question her actions. Besides, there was something else on his mind. Wouldn't it be faster if you cooked something for us? ETZZ, too boring. Nino shot that idea down. I haven't been able to go out lately because of some stupid exams, so I want to enjoy myself tonight. There was a twinkle in her eyes. And this way, it feels more like a date. A date, huh? She always said the darndest things. Naruto shot her smirk. But exams, huh? Sounds like you worked hard this time around. I'm happy for you. Nino blushed some more, although the reason why was pretty obvious. Don't patronize me. Besides, we still ended up failing anyway. She muttered the last part, but Naruto still heard her. He shrugged. The fact that you tried is a big improvement in my book. After that, the rest will come easy. Nino started to pull him along. Whatever. I don't want to talk about that. This is a date, so let's make it more interesting. Naruto looked amused by her words, but allowed the girl to continue pulling him down the street. He had no problems indulging her and her jokes. You know, I'm the one who just got back from a long trip. Shouldn't you be the one to treat me? Don't be so barbaric. As a gentleman, you must always treat the lady. Right? Naruto wasn't buying it, but he didn't complain further, as he dug into his meal. Nino had chosen a simple restaurant for their so-called dinner date, which Naruto was happy with. He wasn't dressed for anything fancy, and he just wanted a quick meal anyway. After such a hectic day, anything else would be tiring. Nino eyed the eating blonde, noticing the pair of headphones on him. I can't believe you're actually wearing them like Miku. Naruto was confused for a moment before realizing what the girl was talking about. Oh, these. Naruto looked down at the headphones with fondness. It was a gift from Miku, so of course I'm going to use them. But I'm not trying to start a fashion trend like her. I forgot to take them off after I got back to my apartment. That's how troublesome today has been. That tends to happen when you travel out of the country. Nino's eyes started to sparkle. More importantly, did you win? Naruto chuckled. But of course. I'm not going to lose that easily. Well, you never know. Karate can be tough, right? Naruto's eyebrow twitched. It's mixed martial arts. How many times do I have to tell you? It's all the same. No, it isn't. Every form of martial arts has its distinct form. Their art in their own way. Confusing them is only an insult to those who practice them. You always get like this when it comes to fighting, Nino commented, smiling. Not that I don't like it. What the heck did that mean? Let's start to remember what it is I do, Naruto said. Otherwise, I'm going to make you my student again. Nino paled at the threat. Training under the blonde had been tough, torture even. He had put them through hell. Only Yasuba still asked for training sessions, but that girl wasn't human. Alright, don't go throwing that around again. I'll try to pay more attention. Naruto looked satisfied by her response. I think you should focus more on fencing, though, Nino added after taking a sip from her drink. It's way more attractive. Naruto was indeed a practitioner of both MMA and fencing. He only did the latter to help him with his meditating sessions. There was more grace to be had with fencing, even though Naruto wasn't big on using a sword. Hey, you've never complained when you came to see me fight the last time. Nino started to blush at the memory. She had enjoyed the fight for different reasons than the blonde was thinking. Not that she was going to tell him that. Again, not good timing. I just don't want to see you get hurt, she said, as her blush started to die down. Those fights are tough, and I've read up on what happens to some of the athletes. It's not pretty. So she was worried about him. How touching. Naruto smiled at her. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. I can take care of myself. Heck, I've been looking out after you five all these years, haven't I? That was the role Naruto had fulfilled, acting as their unofficial bodyguard over the years. That stayed true after their mother married their stepfather too, only that it became more official since he started to get paid. Naruto had protested, since he didn't need to be paid for something like this. In the end, he had caved, if only to appease the man. That's why the father had so much faith in him. The money had helped him become more independent too, which Naruto was grateful for. Nino looked down. Yeah, but you're no longer around, as much. You're always traveling, or doing something else. It's kinda lonely. Naruto frowned at this. He hadn't meant to make it look like he was distancing himself from the sisters. Far from it. He still held them dear to his heart. He cared about them more than anyone else in this world. I'm sorry about that, Nino. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. You're not tired of us, right? Her voice was soft, but clear. Naruto reached over and flicked her on the forehead, making her yelp. What? Nino rubbed her forehead and glared at Naruto. What was that for? Naruto shrugged. For being an idiot. Wah. I'm not tired of you, idiot, Naruto said, quoting her. You know I care about all of you. That's never going to change. My life is simply a little busy right now. Nino knew this, but she still wasn't happy with the way things were. Why? Well, wasn't it obvious? Naruto could tell she still wasn't happy, so he said, if it makes you feel better, I won't be going anywhere for some time. Nino's eyes lit up. Really? Yeah. I've decided to focus on my studies for a while. Not that it would amount to anything probably. He had only graduated high school because he had been made to. A promise was a promise, after all. Nino looked happy about this. So you're staying in Japan then? Basically, yeah. I'm sure everyone will be glad to hear it. Naruto chuckled some more. They probably wouldn't be this happy about it, though. Nino's face was the exact opposite of what it had been just a few minutes ago. Now she radiated pure happiness. It was great to know that she cared about him this much. This also means I'll get to enjoy your cooking more. Oh? Nino started to fidget in her seat. I guess that's true. I know how poor your diet can be when all you eat is ramen. Boy. Don't diss the ramen. How did someone like you become a professional athlete again? Naruto almost reached over to flick her on the forehead again. I'm not a pro. Not yet at least. And you're just jealous of me, and Itsuki can eat like slobs, and not gain any weight. Nino pouted. She didn't deny it, though. Her youngest sister and Naruto were always pigging out, but never gained weight. The blonde she could understand. He trained a lot. His muscles were proof of that. But her sister. All Itsuki did was yoga in the mornings with her. Hardly enough to compensate for all the food she ate. Frigging is unfair. Why did Itsuki have a good metabolism? Whatever. She huffed. I can cook for you at your place whenever you want, so be grateful. Yes, yes. Don't sound so dismissive, damn it. Naruto simply laughed, annoying her further. But underneath that surface-level annoyance was also contentment. Having Naruto around was enough for Nino to be happy and at ease. It was simply an effect Naruto had on others, and Nino was no exception. Except that was no longer good enough for her. She wanted more. She had been struggling to come up with some sort of an answer for this dilemma, but now she had a chance. The blonde would be sticking around, at least for a few months. That would give her the perfect opportunity she needed to deepen her relationship with him. Nino licked her lips, her mind filled with what the coming months would bring. And Naruto was none the wiser. 5 years into the future, day of the wedding. Just get it for me, alright. Itsuki Futuru hung up and placed his phone next to him on the table before the person on the other end had a chance to answer. He then laid his head on the table, a wave of exhaustion hitting him. He couldn't help it. A lot of planning had gone into today, and since he was more responsible than his dear bride, most of the heavy work had gone to him. In movies and fairy tales, it was supposed to be the other way around. But they were always defying expectations, weren't they? He was still happy with today, though. How could he be? It was the day of his wedding. It almost seemed surreal. After everything that had happened, he was finally here. It felt amazing. Someone looks half dead. Futuru glanced back to the door of the room where a friendly face greeted him. Naruto, you're finally here. The older male shook his head. He was dressed in a simple black and white tuxedo, but it still looked good on him. Now that's just rude. I've been here since morning. Then why didn't I see you? You were shouting orders left and right that I never even got the chance to say hello. Then you cooped yourself up here. True enough, Futuru admitted that he might have done something like that maybe. Nervous? Futuru scoffed as he turned the other way, his hand going to the good luck charm on his wrist. It looked worn out, but he still treasured it like when he first got it. Nervous? That's not even close enough to describe how I'm feeling right now. Naruto chuckled at this, as he stepped into the room, his hands in his pockets. That's certainly true. I guess I can't blame you for that. The big day always brings jitters. Is this how you felt? Naruto hummed at the question, thinking about it for a moment. His wedding had been last year, so it was still fresh in his mind. The emotions of that time. Something like that, yeah. I was afraid of not living up to her expectations. That I wasn't good enough. He shrugged while chuckling some more. Turns out she was thinking the same thing. In the end, I was worrying over nothing. I was just letting my fear get the best of me. But it'll pass. Once you get into the rhythm of things, you'll find that it's easier than you thought. Fyodor took those words to heart. It had almost been a year now since Naruto had gotten married, so if he was to take advice from anyone in this situation, then who was better than him? But it was funny. 5 years ago, Fyodor never would have expected for things to turn like this. Turning to Naruto for advice was just funny. I get the feeling you just insulted me in your head, Naruto said, shaking his head. And here I was trying to make you feel better. Fyodor turned to the blonde again. Stop being melodramatic. I was simply thinking back on things. From before. From before. Yeah, how we met. Fyodor closed his eyes, a small grin forming on his face. I can still remember that day, when we first met. I thought you were a total idiot, not that I was wrong about that, mind you. You can go to your wedding bruised if that's what you want. You wouldn't dare. Not unless you want to be killed later. Naruto let out a dramatic sigh. True, true. Your soon-to-be wife would murder me in the reception or probably during the ceremony. You picked a feisty one. Like you're one to talk. Chuckling, Naruto raised his hand where his wedding ring was. I guess that's true. We're both pretty hopeless, huh? At that time things were a lot more hectic back then, weren't they? But it was also because of those hectic times that today was possible. So the good outweighed the bad, not that there was much bad to go around. There was a knock on the door, with one of the coordinators waiting for them. Sir, it's almost time. Fyodor nodded. Yes, I understand. Thank you. Naruto watched the coordinator go before looking at Fyodor, who stood to get his suit jacket from the coat hanger. As he did, Naruto remembered why he had come here in the first place. That's right. Where's the ring? Fyodor paused. Shit. I forgot it. Naruto nearly went and slapped him. What the hell? How could you forget the ring of all things? What kind of groom are you? Leave me alone, he muttered, as he put the jacket on. I already called Raiha. She should be here soon. Relying on your cute little sister, even now. Maybe I shouldn't let you get married after all. Ha! Fyodor shot him a grin. Just try and stop me. The Fyodor from 5 years ago never would have said something like that. Things were certainly different now. Naruto matched his grin. Well, I guess I'll just stand there and look pretty then, since I don't have anything else to do now. No? Fyodor patted him on the back as he walked past the blonde. As my best man, you have to provide emotional support. Still the scaredy cat. Buzz off. Today is an exception. I guess that's true. The two shared a quick laugh before stepping out of the room. They headed for the ceremony and for the future. Present time. It was morning time, and Naruto looked at the small shop before him with nostalgia. Was it right for him to feel this way? It had only been a few months, but it felt longer than that. I guess time flies when you're having fun. He put those thoughts to the back of his mind as he stepped inside. It was a new day, and with it came new hassles. That sounds like something Shikamaru would say. His lazy friend would probably get a laugh at seeing him now with his new laid-back streak. Naruto missed the troublesome bastard. Oh, Naruto-kun. You're back. The blonde focused back on reality when he was greeted by a man behind the counter of the shop. Okay, man might be too simple of a description. The female wig and lipstick were a dead giveaway of that. Still, Naruto didn't mind it and smiled. Hey there, Hayato-san. It's been a while, huh? You can say that again. Naruto was quickly engulfed in a hug by the man who held a long pipe in his hand. You never even bothered to call either. Sorry. Things got hectic in Russia. I can only imagine. Hayato stepped back and brought the pipe to his lips. He gave Naruto a once-over, taking in the blonde's simple hoodie and orange sweats. Still dressing like a bum. That's so unfortunate, Naruto-kun. You really need a girl in your life. Naruto laughed some more. Maybe someday, but I haven't found anyone yet. With his kind of baggage, trying to find a girl who could accept him would not be easy. Besides, he had other stuff going on in his life right now. Hayato shook his head. It's a shame. You have such a nice body too. Yeah, you don't have to go that far. The man waved him off. Still shy, huh? Well, you'll grow to be more bold one day. Naruto shook his head, amused. Probably not as bold as you, Hayato-san. Oh my. You flatter me. This man was quite a character, right? So the Ripper finally graces us with his presence. Naruto, what are you doing here? Grinning, Naruto turned to the two new voices. From the back room for employees only emerged a pair that Naruto recognized right away. They were dressed in the shop's uniform, as waiters. Ken, Asagi. It's good to see you guys again. Ken, the male of the two, was just as tall as Naruto, if only shorter by a few centimeters. He had messy dark hair, and wore a pair of store-bought glasses. His build was smaller than Naruto's, though, but that was to be expected given how rigorous Naruto's training was. The other, Asagi, had long blonde hair and bright brown eyes, almost caramel. She was thin and, as Ken would put it, had an ass to die for. Naruto would rather not repeat that last part. So you finally return, huh? Asagi said with her arms crossed. Are you here to beg for your job back? No need. Hayato raised his hand from behind the counter. I've already rehired him. While Asagi looked taken back. You always do this, boss. He leaves, and then comes back like nothing's happened. There should be some sort of punishment at least. Hey now. But Asagi-chan, didn't you take 2 months off because of some internship? In fact, you only started working here again last week. Total verbal annihilation, and delivered so smoothly by the man. There was no refuting that. Seems like your fantasy won't come true after all, Asagi, Ken said with a hand on his glasses. Such a pity. I know how much you were looking forward to seeing Naruto beg, and making him lick your feet. Shut up, you perverted moron. Naruto sighed, as he watched the girl hit the boy on the back of the head. These two hadn't changed at all, huh? I called Hayato-san last night about coming in today, Naruto explained. I do have manners, Asagi. The blonde rolled her eyes. Could have fooled me. You don't have to worry about her, Naruto. Ken spoke again, looking normal, as if he hadn't just been hit. She's at Sundeer, as I'm sure you know. Asagi looked ready to strangle him. I swear to God, Ken. Alright, that's enough of that, you two. Hayato clapped his hands to get their attention. It's almost time to open, and you have yet to get this place ready for our dear customers. What customers? Asagi said sarcastically. Barely anyone comes here. Naruto's sweat dropped. So that hasn't changed either, huh? How this place remained open with so little business, Naruto had no idea. Hayato twitched. Asagi-chan, you're a lot cuter when you don't say things like that. Like that would stop her. Come now, we must show enthusiasm. Hayato switched back to his happy self. For the great reverse cafe shop. Asagi looked at Naruto and Ken. Who came up with that name again? Both of them shrugged, not knowing. They only worked here. How did they know something like that? Hayato's shoulders sagged. No one respected him. Maybe he should hire better staff. Takami Ken and Asagi Rin. Naruto had been friends with the two of them since their high school years. Their friendship had formed under bizarre circumstances, but that was a story for another time. Even after graduating, they kept close, and somehow ended up working in the same shop. But while Naruto was more focused with his future MMA career, Ken and Asagi were full-time college students. So you guys have more free time now? Asagi nodded, as she got the tables ready. Yeah. Unlike you, Ken and I are going to be graduating this semester. So you managed to save a semester, huh? It's only natural, Ken said, as he pushed his glasses up his nose. With my abilities, something as weak as college can't hold me back. Sighing, Naruto pointed at him. Look. I know you like to pretend you're some special character with magical powers, but can you drop the act while we're working at least? It would save us a lot of time. Naruto was dressed in the same uniform as them now, and he and Ken were both sweeping the floor. You win me, Naruto. The glasses wearer raised his hand. This is for my dream. My dream is to marry a voice actress. Asagi nearly growled at Ken's proclamation. How the hell are you smarter than me again? While Naruto was a dunce when it came to school, Asagi and Ken were different. They were smart, like really smart. Ken especially. Naruto was sure the guy could have skipped a whole year if he wanted to, but he never did for some reason. So basically, you going to become a light novel author? Naruto questioned, wondering if his friend's dream was still the same, or if it had changed. Ken started to cackle. Of course. And after it gets an anime, I will marry the voice actress of my heroine. It's perfect. What if she's already married? That matters very little. Love transcends all. Remember that, Naruto. He then shrugged a little. But for now, I guess becoming a physicist isn't too bad. It'll pay the bills at least. Yeah, becoming a physicist was his backup option. How many people got to say that? Asagi placed a hand on her hips, and scowled. I have to say, that kind of love is pretty messed up if you ask me. You're just jealous you've never had a boyfriend. Shut up, you moron. Naruto winced when Asagi delivered a powerful wraparound to the young man, with a loud cracking sound echoing throughout the shop when Ken's back made contact with the floor. There goes his spine, Naruto thought with a sigh. Ken was always asking for it, though. Asagi looked proud of her work, as Ken moaned in pain from down on the floor. Looks like you've been keeping up with your judo practice, Naruto noted, impressed with the girl's power. You might be able to make it hard for me now. Asagi almost scoffed at that. She was no idiot. She already knew she stood no chance against Naruto. The only reason she could throw Ken around like a rag doll despite him being twice her size was because the pervert was weak. He didn't train like Naruto. All he did was watch that crappy anime of his. Or read light novels. Asagi-chan, no killing of personnel please, Hayato's voice came from the back somewhere. I don't want to get sued. Asagi turned back to the tables. I don't think that's going to be a problem, sir. After all, a corpse can't sue. Cruel. Just cruel. Damn, those have been getting a lot harder to take, Ken muttered, as he tried to stand up. Naruto helped him while shaking his head. You really should stop trying to provoke her. Your body is gonna give one of these days. Ken smirked. It's no problem for me, Naruto. In fact, I consider it a reward. So he was going to the dark side then. What a shame. You need help. Preferably from a professional. Shut up, I don't need to hear that from you, Ken grumbled. Mister, I have a harem of 5 high school girls. Cheating bastard. It was Naruto who looked like he wanted to pound the guy into the ground next. How many times do I have to tell you that it's not like that? They're like sisters to me. You never did tell us how you met, Asagi pointed out from where she was cleaning. As she heard Ken's comment about enjoying her attack, she didn't show it. You said you would tell us one day, and it's been like 5 years now. Does it really matter? Ken's face darkened. If it reveals crucial information that will allow me to destroy your harem, then yes. Not a harem. Seriously, get that through your thick skull already. He's not going to stop, Asagi said in a sing-song voice. Naruto rolled his eyes. She was siding with him now. What a pair he was stuck with. I was asked to look after them, so that's what I'm doing. It's not part of some perverted fantasy, Ken. And goddammit, don't write that down. Out of nowhere, Ken took out a notepad and started scribbling down something. He was always doing this too, saying that Naruto provided him with a lot of material for his future light novel. Needless to say, Uzumaki was not happy with having his life be part of some perverted novel that his friend was no doubt going to write. Or was writing. Who knew by this point? But, as he tried to take the notepad from Ken, Naruto was reminded of his conversation with Nino the previous night. What? Papa did what now? He's got another tutor for you. Is that bad? Yes, it's bad. And annoying. Very annoying. Nino scowled as she stomped around him. The two were in a park, as Nino had practically dragged him here after they finished with their meal. She wanted to enjoy a stroll under the stars, or something like that. When will Papa ever learn that we don't need some outsider messing with us? Messing with them? Naruto waved to her. I think you're overreacting here. Nino gave him one of her famous side glares. Only Miku could match that cold gaze of hers. You know I'm not. A tutor is not going to help. He's got no business with us. It's for school, and need I remind you that you all failed your last exams. That's why you're switching schools, right? Nino clicked her teeth together, her annoyance rising. She hadn't known about the switch until Naruto told her. Honestly, that father of hers was always doing stuff like this without consulting them. It still isn't right. Naruto sighed. Well, he had sort of expected this reaction from her. Previous tutors had only lasted a couple of weeks before quitting. This was due to a combination of things, but Nino's hostility was certainly one of the factors. You're not going to make this easy, are you? What do you think? Again, Naruto prayed for their new tutor. He was not going to be having an easy time with his job. I promise your dad to supervise this whole thing. Now, if he sucks at the job, that's one thing. But if you try to pull anything sneaky, you and I are going to have a word. Nino knew he was serious too. Naruto knew her well, too well. Trying to pull something over him was nearly impossible by this point. Still. You're going to take some stranger's side over mine. Seriously. Oh boy. There it was, another landmine. Without a word, Naruto grabbed her wrist and pulled the girl closer to him. This took all the fight out of Nino's face, as her face turned beet red. Naruto didn't notice this, and said, This isn't about sides, Nino. It's about your future. All of your futures. You can't dwell on the past forever. Nino kept her gaze lowered. She couldn't look at Naruto. Not right now. If she did, those eyes of his would make her back down right away. Don't say that. The past is. She still hadn't gotten over it, huh? Well, Naruto had already figured that out. Her hair told him everything he needed to know. You still haven't changed it. Nino froze when she felt Naruto's hand on her hair. It made her spine all tingly. Even Itsuki's done something with hers. But you've kept it the same. Just like when you were in Kyoto. That's because it's important. She was stuttering. The only time she was this vulnerable was around him. She both hated and loved that fact. We were the same back then. Now, they're all moving away from me. You still believe that. But it's true. Finally, she was able to look up at him. She had to fight back her tears. We're no longer as close as we used to be. That goes for you too. You're always traveling, and you really love them, huh? Naruto cut her off with a smile. This time, he hugged her. Despite her frustrations, Nino didn't fight it. Naruto's aura was simply too soothing for her to do so. I told you this before, but if you feel frustrated, then let it out. Tell them. But you think it's silly, Nino said, her voice muffled by Naruto's chest. Naruto didn't wear cologne, but Nino still thought he smelled good. Almost like the forest. I do, but you're not me, Naruto said in return, unaware of her thoughts. To me, the 5 of you were always different. That's why I don't see this as a problem. Liar. You couldn't tell us apart at first. That was only for a week. and cut me a break. I was going through a bunch of other stuff at the time. Nino remembered. She didn't know what happened, but her mother had been able to help the blonde through whatever had been troubling him at the time. It was after that that they had truly started to bond. You may be quintuplets, but you're still your own self, Naruto explained to her, still hugging her. That doesn't mean you can't be close. It doesn't mean your sisters don't care about you either. You five share a very strong bond, stronger than anything else I've seen. I don't think you should cheapen it, Nino. Even if you do change your bond once. Always with the lectures. It always pissed Nino off how he was able to speak so bluntly. Because when he did, she couldn't complain about her problems. So unfair. Being honest, she muttered. I guess I can do that. There was a double meaning in there, but it was definitely lost on the blonde. Besides, Nino stepped back from the hug and raised her head, looking haughty. Back then, you told us you loved our hair. Since mine is still the same, I guess that means you love mine the most now, huh? What was he supposed to say to that? Nino grabbed him by his shirt and brought him down to her eye level, her eyes boring straight into his soul. I'm right, aren't I? God, how could she be so scary like that? It was like he was staring at death, tempting him to answer incorrectly. He wasn't brave enough. Yeah, I love your hair. It wasn't a lie anyway. When he met them 5 years ago, he had compared their hair to that of his mother's, and since Nino hadn't changed it, there was no denying that he preferred Nino's hair the most. Nino's face brightened, looking like she had just won the lottery. Alright. She let him go, and turned to skip down the road of the park. She was humming too. Naruto just shook his head, as he followed after her. Again, he could not understand her sometimes. Their date had ended soon after that, with Naruto walking her home. He still wasn't sure of how she was going to behave with this new tutor, but hopefully he got through to her. I can't let my guard down, though. Nino wasn't the only one to worry about. Itsuki would probably try her best, as would Yusuba. But Ichika and Miku. Not a chance. They were just as bad as Nino, but for different reasons. Really? What troublesome sisters? He still smiled. He wouldn't have them any other way. Oh, what's this? Ken was suddenly standing behind him, his face twitching with annoyance. That carefree smile of yours, you're thinking about your harem, aren't you? Naruto had momentarily forgotten about him and his notepad, but now he was reminded of it. But instead of trying to grab it, Naruto punched him. Right in the gut. The future author fell to the floor with a thud. This probably wasn't the kind of punishment he wanted. Not from Naruto at least. Asabi on the other hand looked satisfied. See? Doesn't it feel nice? The kinda did. Hayato simply watched on from behind the counter, shaking his head. Kids these days. Kurobar Girls High School. It was a super famous high school, typically attended by rich families from all over the country. As the name suggested, it was a girls-only high school. Which is why Naruto felt a bit weird standing by the front gates, as he waited for the sisters to exit. All the pointing and giggling from the female students wasn't helping either. Whether it was from his presence or the way he was dressed, he wasn't sure. Just ignored. At least work went well today. Not many customers had showed up, but that was typical of the shop. Again, Naruto had to wonder how Hayato kept the place afloat. It was almost like a miracle. Maybe the wig and lipstick gave him superpowers. Wouldn't be the strangest thing to happen in his life. Naruto-sensei. The blonde was suddenly tackled by a blur, and the two went tumbling to the ground. Naruto knew that if it wasn't for his build and training, that would have hurt. Well, it still hurts a little. I got you. Naruto wasn't surprised to see Itsuba's wide grin hanging over him, nor was he surprised to find that it was she who had tackled him. Only one person called him Naruto-sensei. Do we have to do this every time we see each other? Naruto said, his voice defeated. He was proud of the girl's physical prowess, but being tackled for a greeting wasn't exactly fun. Of course we do. Yusuba exclaimed. How else will I know if I'm closer to beating you? I don't know, through a sparring match. Too boring. Really now? Get off him already, Yusuba. Nino arrived next, her arms crossed, and her eyebrow twitching. She definitely didn't look happy right now. The two girls were wearing the typical uniform for the school. Haha, right. Yusuba did, which allowed Naruto to stand. But then he was tackled again, only not so strongly this time. And it was by two people, not one. The blonde looked down, and smiled. Miku, Itsuki. It's nice to see you guys too. It was rare to see Miku so expressive, but she always became excited every time he got back from one of his trips overseas. She looked up at him with a pout. Nino told us how you and her went out yesterday. He sensed danger. Itsuki was pouting too. You didn't invite us. Crap. Well, Nino said you guys weren't home, so. It wasn't his fault, damn it. But I was, Miku said. I was in my room. Naruto quickly looked to Nino, who looked away, doing her best to seem innocent. You little. She lied to him. The girl had pulled a fast one on him. And I could have dropped what I was doing, Itsuki said, her cheeks puffed out. But I guess you didn't want to see us that badly, huh? That's not true, Itsuki. You know that. She let go of him and crossed her arms, doing her best Nino expression. It was spot on. God, they really were sisters, weren't they? Come now, guys. Don't tease Naruto-kun so much. The final sister finally arrived on the scene, and it was none other than Ichika. She looked pretty amused, but Naruto could see something else in her eyes. Annoyance, perhaps. Or was it something different? But why would she be annoyed? You shouldn't be so lenient, Ichika, Miku said while giving Nino light glare. She did something annoying again. Ichika put a finger over her lips, almost like a shush notion. Yes, but we already discussed that, didn't we? So they had their own discussion already. Well, it was sort of expected. They were sisters, after all. Nino gave Ichika a small glare of her own, recalling last night's events after she had returned from her date with Naruto. You did what? I went on a date with him, Nino responded so calmly it made the other four pause for a second. She was also texting on her phone, not bothering to look at her sisters, as they all gathered in the living room of their apartment. Miku had a hand over her head, looking exhausted. Why are you doing something like this? Nino lowered her phone and stared at her. You know why. I love him. That was so straightforward, it left them speechless again. Itsuba poked her fingers together, her cheeks red. Nino, I didn't know you were so honest about these things. We can't stay kids forever, Itsuba. Besides, Nino smiled. I've decided to stop beating around the bush. Ichika fell back on the sofa, her eyes going to the ceiling. I had a feeling something like this would happen. She, like the others, had been aware of Nino's growing infatuation with the older blonde. How could they not? Naruto was basically everything Nino looked for in a guy, even down to the bad boy look he had going on. Although, to Ichika, the whiskers were cuter than anything else. Itsuki rubbed her arm, looking a bit out of place. She didn't exactly agree with Nino's actions or her feelings. To her, Naruto was the big brother they never got. She was sure that's all she felt, as did the others. But Nino. Miku was staring back at Nino. Why are you telling us this anyway? Yes, she was unhappy that Nino had hogged Naruto for herself tonight, but she knew there was something else going on here. I guess nothing escapes your notice, Nino said with a half smile. But you're right. I'm telling you this, as a form of declaration. Declaration. Oh, I get it. Ichika started to smile, as she turned her gaze back on her sister. It wasn't one of her typical big sister smiles, though. It was a bit more dark. You're declaring war on us, aren't you? War? Yutsuba tilted her head. I don't get it. No one expected her to. She was the most innocent one for a reason. Itsuki sighed and closed her eyes. How stupid. No one else here likes Naruto like that besides you. She expected the others to chime in agreement with her, but there was only silence. This was followed by more silence, at which point she cracked open one of her eyes to look at her sisters. None of them would do the same. What? What was going on here? Having already expected this, Nino stood up and made for her room. But not before she left them some parting words. I'll be serious from now on. I'll be making Naruto mine. The rest of you can do what you want. Itsuki watched her sister go up the stairs and disappear into her room. Nino. She was definitely serious about this. Itsuba suddenly stood up and laughed rather loudly and awkwardly. I just remembered there's something I have to get at this store. I'll be right back. She ran out of the apartment, looking like she was about to burst in flames if she stayed any longer. Obviously it was a lie. She was a terrible liar. She just needed an excuse to leave. Still smiling, Ichika stood up next. Well, our dear sister has left us with a rather nasty surprise. I wonder what's going to happen next. Itsuki could only frown while Miku remained quiet. Well, Yusuba was easy to read, Ichika and Miku were different. Their faces were harder to crack. Simply put, Itsuki had no idea what was going on anymore. The night had ended up rather tense, and it carried over to their breakfast. Itsuki had tried to patch things up, but there was a clear rift between Nino, Ichika, and Miku. Yusuba was acting like her usual self, but Itsuki suspected that was just a front. In short, this was a rather bothersome situation they were now in. And of course, the cause of all this, Naruto, hadn't the faintest idea about any of this. He was simply glad to be able to see them again. Are you guys free for today? Of course, Naruto-sensei. Yusuba gave him a proud salute. Since we knew you were back, we made sure to clear our schedule. We have a lot of stuff to catch up on, right? Itsuki said, smiling softly. She would have to put Nino's confession in the back of her mind for now. It's been almost 5 months since we were together. 5 months. That was longer than he remembered, Naruto admitted. But again, time flew when you were having fun. We're going out, right? Nino was latching onto his arm again, pressing her body up against his. This got a curious look from Naruto. Where to? Oh ho, I think you're making him uncomfortable there, Nino. Ichika was suddenly on Naruto's other side, grabbing his arm as well. You should give him space. Nino's eyebrow twitched. I think you should speak for yourself, Ichika. The two settled to glaring at one another, while Naruto looked at the two in bewilderment. Yikes. Yutsuba was not looking to get involved in that. Even though she wasn't that tough, she was still a little surprised. She didn't expect for Ichika to be this direct either. Miku was shaking her head as she looked away, noticing that the other students were shooting curious glances their way. This was going to be a topic of discussion for sure. We'll be leaving soon anyway, so it doesn't matter. Besides, this place sucked. Itsuki was left to try and play peacemaker, but she wasn't doing a very good job at it, as Nino and Ichika had devolved to sticking out their tongues to mock the other. The savagery. Naruto was still confused, but he knew one thing. Something had definitely happened. Now I just need to figure out what it was. Based on this alone, it was clear that making Naruto look at her as a woman and not just as a sister figure was going to be a long road for Nino. But was she the only one on this path? The battlefield known as love was here. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.